The Galactic Empire's most powerful warship, Vindicator, floated silently inside Dock 7 at Nova Helix Station. It was not just any ship. It was the Emperor's favorite symbol of power, pride, and fear. The ship had golden-lined crests on its hull, cannons large enough to destroy moons, and a defense system so advanced that no one dared attack it. But on the third night of upgrades, something happened that shocked the galaxy. Without a sound, without a battle, and without any warning, Vindicator vanished. The entire dock security systems had been disabled. Guards were found unconscious but unharmed. The cameras showed nothing. 1 second the ship was there, the next it was gone. Nova Helix Station's command center exploded into chaos. How can a 10-kilometer-long warship disappear? The alien commander yelled. Where's the tracking beacon? There's none, the technician replied. It was disabled before the alarm went off. The news traveled fast. In less than 1 hour, it reached the Emperor himself. He didn't scream. He didn't shout. He just said 4 words, call Captain Adrienne Vale. Captain Adrienne Vale was human. And humans were not common in the core of the Empire. Most people thought humans were reckless, emotional, and unpredictable. They were right. Vale had once been the youngest fleet commander in Empire history. He had ended 3 wars and saved 2 planets from extinction. He also broke 10 major laws doing it. Then, 5 years ago, he vanished. No one knew where he went. Some said he died. Others said he was hiding. The truth was simple. He quit. He was tired of war, tired of orders, tired of politics. Now, he sat alone in a quiet bar on a mining moon called Veltrax 9. He wore an old jacket, had a gray beard, and drank something strong and illegal. A small drone floated in and landed on his table. It blinked 3 times. Message from the Emperor, it said in a cold voice. Vale didn't look surprised. What did he lose this time? The Vindicator. For the first time in years, Vale raised an eyebrow. The Emperor's message was short. The Vindicator has been stolen. I trust only you. Find it, return it. Use any means necessary. You have full clearance. Vale didn't ask for help. He didn't request a fleet. He just sent one message back. I'll bring her home. But after that, don't call me again. Vale didn't use a shiny new battleship. He flew a worn, Earth-made ship called the Gravestone. It was old, ugly, and looked like it should be in a museum. But it was fast, full of hidden weapons, and had one special thing. No other ship had a human-built war AI named Cora. Good morning, Captain, Cora said as the engines warmed up. I assume we are chasing death again? Not death, Vale replied. Just thieves with no idea who they've messed with. As Gravestone left the mining moon, Vale checked the few clues available. No sensor logs, no jump signatures, no pirate chatter. But then, a strange signal appeared. It was weak, hidden under old Imperial encryption. Only a few people in the galaxy would even notice it. Vale smiled. Hello, old friend, he whispered. It was Vindicator's AI, sending a tiny beacon. Someone had tried to shut her down, but she fought back. She was trying to reach him. Vale's fingers danced across the console. Cora, trace that signal, layer by layer. We follow it, no matter where it leads. Plotting now, she replied. But Captain, this path leads into Shakhtar space. Vale frowned. Of course it does. It's never easy. The Shakhtar were feared across the stars. 7-foot-tall creatures made of armor and muscle. They didn't just kill. They studied what they killed. They improved it, broke it, and used it for their own weapons if the Vindicator was in their hands. It was bad, very bad. But Vale wasn't afraid. He'd been through worse. He'd outsmarted worse. Back at the Imperial capital, nobles argued and blamed each other. How could this happen? We must not have allowed humans in the fleet. This is a sign of rebellion. But when someone said Vale was on the case, the room went silent. One alien admiral leaned forward and whispered, if Captain Vale is back, we may not need a fleet. He is the fleet. The chase had begun. Captain Adrienne Vale, with his strange crew and stubborn AI, raced into the unknown. He didn't care about politics. He didn't care about fame. Someone had taken his ship, the one he helped build, the one he protected, the one that still remembered him, and now he was coming to get it back. The galaxy didn't know it yet, but something worse than war was coming, a human with a mission. And when that human was Captain Adrienne Vale, even stars held their breath. The ship Gravestone flew like a shadow through the cold emptiness of space. It was old and heavy, patched together with parts from forgotten wars. But in the hands of Captain Adrienne Vale, it moved like a blade. Inside, the lights were dim, the controls were manual, and the air smelled like oil and history. This was not a ship for luxury. It was a ship for war. The AI, Cora, spoke softly through the speakers. Captain, signal from the Vindicator's faint, but stable. Direction confirmed, deep into Shakhtar territory. Vale sat in the pilot's chair, staring at the holographic map. Keep tracking it and activate the old codes. We might need them, Cora replied. Empire codes from 5 years ago. They're outdated. Doesn't matter, Vale said. The Vindicator still trusts me. The crew of the Gravestone gathered in the main hall. They were a strange group. First was Drake, a quiet human sniper who never missed a shot. He once took down a ship engine with a bullet. Then came Rella, a former pirate mechanic with 4 robotic fingers and a love for fire. She called Vale boss and laughed in danger. There was Seno, a blue-skinned alien from the desert world Varric. He used to fight against the Empire but joined Vale after the captain saves his village from orbital bombing. Last was Lynx, a small insect-like creature with 6 legs and a translator around his neck. He didn't speak much, but he was the best at breaking codes and hacking systems. They stood silently as Vale spoke. The Vindicator has been stolen, he said, and whoever took it thinks they're untouchable. They think no one can track them. They're wrong. Drake raised an eyebrow. We're going into Shakhtar space. Yes, Vale said. Rella grinned. Finally, something fun. As the Gravestone neared the border, warning signals began flashing. Cora warned. We are entering the zone of silence. No Empire ship has returned from here in 20 years. That's because they sent the wrong captains, Vale said. Meanwhile, far away, deep inside a dark asteroid field, the Vindicator sat in silence. Its systems were being stripped. Engineers non-human and untrained worked to copy its tech. But something was going wrong. The ship's AI was resisting. The screens flickered with ghost messages. Lights turned on and off. Doors locked on their own. A quiet hum could be heard. In the halls like breathing. One of the technicians turned pale. Is it watching us? The Shakhtar commander growled. Just a machine. Cut the main core. But they were wrong. The Vindicator was not just a ship. It remembered who it belonged to, and it wanted to go home. Back on the Gravestone. The crew prepared for landing. Cora spoke. We've picked up a transmission-coded message from the Vindicator. It's fragmented, but here's part of it. Robotic voice filled the room. Captain Vale, systems, loyal, trap. Not pirates. Lynx clicked his legs. Trap, someone wanted you to come. Captain. Vale nodded. Of course. Stealing the ship wasn't the real goal. I was. Seno looked at him. Why would anyone risk war to bring you out of hiding? Vale stared at the stars. Because I don't follow orders, and I don't lose. Hours later, they reached a hidden port near the edge of the cradle, a lawless zone full of criminals, smugglers, and Shakhtar mercenaries. The moment Vale stepped off the ship, silence fell. People stopped eating. Conversations ended. Even music died. Everyone knew his face. Even after 5 years, Captain Adrienne Vale was feared. One voice whispered, he's back. A giant alien name carved, with tattoos on his face and a plasma axe on his back, stepped forward. You shouldn't be here, human. Vale didn't flinch. I'm here for what's mine. Carve growled. You can't walk into the cradle and make demands. Vale looked around the room slowly. Anyone want to stop me? No one moved. Carve backed away. Later that night, Vale met with an old contact, Vena, a half-cyborg information broker. I hear your ship was taken, she said, smiling with metal teeth. I hear someone powerful paid the Shakhtar to steal it, Vale replied. Vena leaned in. A high noble from the Empire. He wants you dead. He wants the throne. Your return threatens his plan. Vale nodded. Then I'll give him something to fear. She handed him a chip. Coordinates? The ship's here. But if you go in, they'll be waiting. Vale stood. Good. I'm tired of running. As the crew prepared for their next move, Cora played a final message from the Vindicator. Captain, I am holding. Waiting. Ready. Vale closed his eyes and whispered, Hold on. I'm coming. And somewhere in the dark, the mighty Vindicator waited for its captain. The galaxy had forgotten who he was. But soon, they would remember. The gravestone flew into the cradle, a wild and dangerous region ruled by the Shakhtar. No laws existed here. Only strength mattered. Thousands of old ships floated like bones in space. Broken weapons, dead stations, silent warnings. Captain. Adrienne Vale stood on the bridge, staring at the screen. Looks like a graveyard, Rel whispered. It is, Vale replied. Every ship that came here without respect ended up like that. Cora, the AI, spoke calmly. Incoming message. It's from the Shakhtar flagship. They demand we shut down weapons and engines before entering. Vale smiled. They want to test our fear. Drake loaded his rifle. We don't scare easy. The gravestone slowed and docked at a massive battle platform shaped like a beast's skull. Shakhtar guards waited tall, armored, eyes glowing. Red, their leader stepped forward. His name was General Korak. He was bigger than the rest. His armor lined with marks from past victories. Human, Korak growled. You walk into our space with no offering, no fear. Why? Vale stepped out with his coat flapping behind him. He stopped just 2 meters away from Korak and looked straight into his eyes. Because you have something that belongs to me. The ship, Vindicator, Korak chuckled. It belongs to the one strong enough to keep it. Vale's voice was steady. Then test me. The crowd of warriors murmured. Challenges in Shakhtar culture were sacred. If Vale lost, he'd die. But if he won, the Shakhtar would respect him, even follow him. Korak raised a hand. Very well. Human, you will face our strongest in the trial of silence. Rella blinked. What's that? Korak explained. A duel. No weapons. No sound. The crowd must be silent. Even a breath too loud can break the ritual. Winner walks free. Loser bleeds. Vale nodded. Let's begin. The arena was made of black stone and fire. The audience, hundreds of Shakhtar warriors, sat in complete silence. Not a single cough. Not a single word. Vale entered first. No armor. Bare hands. Calm eyes. His opponent stepped in, a giant Shakhtar named Gravik. With scars across his chest and fists like hammers, a soft gong sounded. The trial began. No words were spoken. No sound was made. Only the shifting of feet and the rhythm of breath. Gravik rushed forward. Fast like lightning for his size, he swung his fist. Vale dodged. Rolled, and countered with a palm strike to the ribs. The crowd didn't cheer. They didn't even blink. Every move was watched. Every mistake was death. Vale moved like water, soft, flowing, but with hidden power. Gravik was stronger, but Vale was smarter. He used the Shakhtar's own momentum against him. Minutes passed. Sweat dripped. Muscles ached. Then Gravik made one mistake. He lost balance for half a second. That was all Vale needed. A fast spin. A hard kick to the back of the knee. A punch to the throat. Then a final elbow strike to the temple. Gravik fell. UNMOVING. Silence remained. Korak finally stood and raised his hand. The human has won. He earns audience. The crowd pounded their chests, once a quiet sign of respect. Later, inside the throne room of the Shakhtar fortress, Vale stood before General Korak again. I came here for my ship, he said. Korak stared at him. You fight well, but your ship was taken from us. We sold it for a price too high to refuse. Vale narrowed his eyes. To whom? Korak tossed a metal cube to him. A noble from your empire. Lord Kaldravik. He wanted the ship, and he wanted your name. He paid in weapons, ships, and something darker, data stolen from the emperors. Core systems. Vale turned the cube in his hand. Kale wants the throne. Yes, Korak nodded. He wants war, and he wanted you to walk into it. Vale understood now. The Vindicator was bait. Kale knew Vale couldn't stay away from that ship. He used the Shake Tart to cover his plan. But now Vale had something more powerful than a fleet of truth back on the gravestone. Vale gathered his team. Kale Dravik has the Vindicator, he said. He plans to strike the Empire with it, to start a coup and take the crown. Senno crossed his arms. So what do we do now? We hit him first. Vale replied. Rella smiled. Finally, Lynx tapped on his screen. I've cracked the noblest ship location. It's hiding in a cloaked hangar near the gas planet Viewership. Vale nodded. Then we're going in. Fast. Quiet and deadly. As the gravestone powered up, Cora's voice echoed through the ship. Are you ready, Captain? Vale stared into the stars. He stole the Vindicator. He wanted me back. Now he's going to regret it. And so the hunter became the storm. Captain Adrian Vale had faced enemies, wars, monsters, and betrayal. But this time, it was personal. He wasn't chasing justice. He was coming for revenge. And in the silence of space, everyone could feel it. To be continued in Part 4, The Trial of Silence. The gravestone moved like a ghost toward the gas giant Viewership. Thick storms circled the planet, hiding anything that didn't want to be found. Lightning cracked across the clouds. Deep inside those storms was a hidden hangar, cloaked with stolen Imperial tech. Captain Adrian Vale stood on the bridge, arms crossed. That's where Kale is, he said. That's where the Vindicator is. His crew didn't speak. They didn't have to. They all knew what this meant. They were flying into a trap, but they were ready. Cora. The ship's AI scanned the area. No transmissions, no movement. But the atmosphere is charged. Sensors might not be reliable. Vale smiled slightly. Perfect conditions for a surprise. As they got closer, Lynx zoomed in with long-range visuals. There, he pointed with one claw, half covered in clouds. That's the hangar. The doors were massive, big enough for a battleship, and there it was, the Vindicator. Chained by magnetic clamps, her lights were dim. Her hull had marks from failed hacking attempts. But she was still alive. She's waiting, Vale whispered. She knows I'm here. They couldn't attack directly. The hangar had turrets, shield walls, and patrol drones. So Vale chose another way. We're going in quietly, he told the crew. Rella, prep the jump packs. Lynx, disable our defenses with signal loops. Drake, cover our exit point. Senno asked. What about the guards? Vale's eyes narrowed. We leave them confused. Then we leave them behind, as the storm howled outside. The team jumped from gravestone in dark suits, falling through clouds like shadows. Wind screamed around them, lightning flashing near their helmets. They landed on the roof of the hangar. No alarms, no lights. Lynx crawled to a panel and hacked into the main door. Sparks flew. The door hissed open slowly. Inside, rows of fighters stood silent. Guards patrolled the walkways, but their steps were lazy. No one expected intruders here. That was their first mistake. Vale and his team moved fast. They didn't make noise. They didn't waste time. One by one, they disabled cameras, silenced guards, and made their way to the Vindicator. When they reached her, Vale stepped forward and placed his hand on the hull. The ship pulsed once lights flickered on. The engines gave a quiet hum. She remembers me, Vale said. Cora's voice came through his earpiece. I've connected with her AI core. She's locked down, but fighting back. She's been trying to protect herself. Vale nodded. Then let's help her finish the job. Suddenly, a voice echoed across the hangar. Well done, Captain Vale. I knew you'd come. Spotlights turned on. Guards surrounded them from all sides. High above, Lord Kale Dravik stood on a platform, dressed in dark royal armor. His eyes were cold. His smile was cruel. You always had a hero's heart, Kale said. But this isn't your war anymore. Vale looked up calmly. You're not the emperor yet. I will be. Kale replied. The empire is weak, controlled by fools. I offer strength, order, power. But they fear me, and you're in my way. Vale took a breath. Then remove me. Kale laughed. Oh no, Captain. I won't kill you. I'll break you. You came for the Vindicator? Watch what I do to her. He raised his hand. The hangar shook. Explosives planted under the Vindicator began to blink. Vale's eyes narrowed. Cora, he whispered, override clamps. Reroute power to engines. Now, I'll try, she answered. But I need 60 seconds. Kel smiled. She's not yours anymore. Vale stepped forward. Yes, she is. Without warning, Vale pulled a flash bomb from his belt and threw it at the ground. A blinding white light filled the hangar. The team sprang into action. Rella tossed a fireball charge into a fuel stack. Boom Seno fought off guards with his electric staff. Drake fired precise shots from a catwalk, covering Vale as he ran to the cockpit. Lynx hacked the terminal to unlock the blast doors. Vale jumped into the pilot's seat of the Vindicator. The controls were damaged, wires exposed, alarms blaring. But it felt like home. Cora, link complete? He asked. Yes, she replied. Ship is responding. She wants to fly. Then let's show them how. The engines roared. Magnetic clamps snapped. Apart, the floor cracked beneath the ship as the Vindicator powered up fully for the first time in weeks. Kale shouted, "Stop him." But it was too late. The Vindicator lifted off, knocking guards off their feet. Drake, Seno, Rella, and Lynx jumped aboard. Through side hatches, Kel's voice rang through the comms. This isn't over, Vale. Vale didn't respond. He activated the ship's forward guns and fired straight at the hangar's doors. Boom! A fireball tore through the exit. The Vindicator blasted through into the storm outside. As they escaped into the clouds, Cora said, "Damage minimal. Weapons online. Shields at 60%. Vale grinned. She still flies like a queen. Rella whooped. Now that's what I call a rescue. Drake nodded. Let's finish this. The Vindicator was back in the hands of her true captain. But Kale wasn't done. He still had ships, power, and a dangerous plan. Vale looked at the stars ahead. This isn't about the ship anymore, he said. It's about the Empire. Then what do we do? Seno asked. Vale's voice was calm, cold, and clear. We go to the capital. We end this. The crew fell silent. Nobody dared breathe too loud. Because when Captain Vale took command again, war followed. The Vindicator flew fast through the stars, her engines roaring like a beast finally let loose. She was scarred, but alive. Her systems were still recovering. But under Captain Adrienne Vale's control, she moved with purpose. On the bridge, Vale stood tall, set course for the Imperial capital. He ordered. Top speed, Cora. The AI replied, engines at 82%. We could reach the capital in 12 hours. But Kale won't wait. Let him come, Vale said. He started this. I'll finish it. The crew gathered in the war room around chamber, full of flickering lights and glowing maps. Vale pointed to a hologram of the Imperial Palace. Kale will strike within hours. He thinks I'm too late. He doesn't know I'm already coming. Rella leaned over the map. He has guards, ships, and a full security wall. Drake added, and he controls the palace's communication lines. We can't warn the Emperor. Lynx tapped the table with one claw. Then we break the system from the inside. Vale nodded. Exactly. That's why we're launching Operation Eclipse. He explained the plan. Step 1. Break through Kel's blockade before reaching the planet. Step 2. Divide the crew into 2 teams, one for taking over the palace's main control tower, and the other to protect the Emperor. Step 3. Confront Kale, expose his crimes, and end his coup. Simple in words, deadly in action. 12 hours later, the Vindicator dropped out of LIGHTSPEED. In front of them, Kel's fleet, 10 warships, 30 fighters, and 1 dreadnought painted in royal black. Message from Kale, Cora said. He says, turn back. Vale, or be destroyed. Vale smiled coldly. Send this reply. Coming through. He sat in the captain's chair and gave the order. All power to forward shields. Target the dreadnought's engines. Full thrust. The Vindicator shot forward like a bullet. Enemy ships closed in fast, firing lasers and missiles. The shields took heavy hits. But Cora kept adjusting the energy flow. Rella ran between engine stations, shouting commands. Drake stood at the side cannon, shooting fighters out of the sky. Seno and Lynx guided torpedoes toward the main blockade. Boom. One enemy ship exploded. Boom, another lost its engines and spun out. But then the dreadnought locked on. Incoming plasma blast. Cora warned. Vale clenched his jaw. Brace for impact. The blast hit the Vindicator. The ship shook violently. Lights flickered. Sparks flew from the control panels. Shields down to 30%, Cora said. We can't take another hit like that. Vale stood. Then we don't get hit again. He pressed a hidden button on his console. Activate stealth pattern Earth 7, Cora. Hesitated. Captain, that maneuver is experimental. I know. Do it. The Vindicator suddenly disappeared from sensors. Kel's ships paused, confused. One moment she was there, next moment, gone died in truth. Vale had activated a trick from Earth's forgotten war manuals. He used old heat trails, decoys, and radar silence to vanish. Behind the dreadnought, the Vindicator appeared again. Fire. Everything, Vale ordered. Torpedoes slammed into the dreadnought's engines. Lasers ripped through its hull. The enemy flagship exploded in flames. The rest of Kel's fleet scattered. The Vindicator raced toward the Imperial planet. The skies were full of falling debris and sirens. Down below, Kel had already taken over half the palace. Guards loyal to him wore black armor and carried forbidden weapons. In the throne room, the Emperor sat weak, trapped by Kel's forces. You've lost, Kel whispered. Even Vale can't save you now. But just then, an explosion shook the palace. Kel turned sharply. What was that? Outside, the Vindicator hovered above the palace. A side hatch opened. Vale and his crew jumped out, landing with jetpacks. Team Wondrake and Senno fought their way toward the control tower. Lynx followed behind. Hacking every door and system, they cut power to Kel's cameras, weapons, and shields. Team to Vale and Rel rushed toward the throne room. Guards blocked the halls. But Vale was faster. He punched, rolled, and dodged like a shadow. Rel used small explosives to break through lock gates. In the throne room, Kale watched his guards fall one by one. Then the doors burst open. Captain Adrian Vale walked in. Dust covered his jacket. His eyes were sharp, his face calm. Kale pulled his sword. You're too late. Vale didn't blink. You should have destroyed the ship when you had the chance. Kale charged. Their swords clashed. Sparks flew. The Emperor watched, unable to speak. Kale fought with rage. Vale fought with control. Finally, Vale disarmed him with a sharp move and held Kale at blade point. It's over, Vale said. Kale hissed. The Empire is weak. It needs someone strong. Vale replied. Strength without honor is just fear. Drake's voice came through the comms. Broadcast link ready. Vale turned to a screen. Send the message. Across the galaxy, people watched as Vale's face appeared. He showed proof of Kel's crimes. The stolen data. The hacked systems. The plot to kill the Emperor. The people saw the truth. The Empire was saved. Kale was rested. The Emperor stood up and faced Vale. You disobeyed orders. You disappeared for years, he said. Vale stood still. But you returned when it mattered. The Emperor added, and you saved us all. Later, back on the Vindicator, the crew gathered. The palace was safe, the enemy defeated, but the galaxy was still full of danger. Vale looked out into space. Cora, where to next? He asked. Anywhere. Captain, she replied. The stars are wide open. Vale nodded. Then let's keep flying. Because even when peace returned, the captain never rested. The cold wind howled across the icy surface of Thasra V, a frozen world on the edge of human space. Snow fell steadily from the gray sky, covering the rough metal walls of a small research outpost. Inside, Dr. Alira Mays, a quiet and determined xenobiologist, adjusted her thermal coat and checked her scanner. She had been alone for 3 months, studying glacial microbes and ancient plants buried deep in the ice. She liked the silence. No people, no war, no politics, just her, the snow, and science. But that peace ended when the alarm blared. Impact detected. Object incoming, the AI voice warned. Alira rushed outside, goggles on her face, fighting the freezing wind. A dark shape had crashed just beyond the ridge near her camp. It was large, almost the size of a small shuttle. Smoke rose from the impact zone, curious and cautious. She grabbed her scanner and moved toward it. The snow crunched under her boots as she got closer. She saw long claw marks across the ice and a trail of greenish-black blood. Her heart began to race. At the center of the crash site lay a terrifying creature. It was massive, nearly 3 meters long, with dark, armored skin, powerful limbs, and glowing yellow eyes. Sharp teeth poked from its jaw even as it breathed heavily. One of its legs was broken, and something had burned a hole through its side. It was clearly dying. Alira gasped. She knew what it was, a Karnak, a member of the most dangerous predator species in the known galaxy. Stories said a single Karnak warrior could take down 10 trained soldiers. Humans feared them. Even other alien species avoided them. And now one was here, bleeding in front of her, breathing its last. Her first instinct was to run. But she didn't. Instead, she stepped closer, hands raised. "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you," she whispered, even though she knew the Karnak probably didn't understand human standard. The creature growled weakly. Its eyes followed her, but it didn't move. It was too injured. Alira saw the pain in its face. It reminded her of a dying wolf. Proud but helpless, she slowly knelt beside it, pulling out her medkit. "Let me help." She sprayed a foam on the bleeding wound, which hissed and closed slightly. The Karnak growled again but didn't attack. After our past, the snowstorm grew stronger. Alira set up a portable heat shield over the Karnak's body to keep it warm. She wrapped its injured leg and gave it water using a metal bowl. It couldn't drink much, but it tried. Night came quickly on Thastra V. Her heater started to lose power, and the cold grew sharper. She looked at the dying creature, still breathing slowly, frost forming on its snout. "I can't let you freeze," she said, voice shaking. She crawled under the heat shield, pressed her back to the Karnak's massive side, and pulled a thermal blanket around them both. Its skin was like metal, but under that thick hide, she could feel a slow heartbeat. As she lay there in the snow, with a monster at her side, she whispered gently, "You don't have to die alone. I'm here." She didn't know why she said it. Maybe because she knew what it felt like to be alone for too long. Maybe because she believed every life, even this one, deserved a little comfort. The Karnak made a soft, strange sound, not a growl. Something like a sigh. Alira stayed awake all night. She didn't sleep. She kept checking its breathing, wiping frost from its nose, whispering soft words of kindness. Just before dawn, its breathing slowed. Alira reached up and gently rested, her hand on its giant head. The Karnak opened its eyes one last time and looked at her. Not with anger, not with fear, just peace. Then it died. She stayed still, her hand resting on its cold head, eyes full of tears she hadn't expected. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "You were alone." But not at the end. 3 days passed. Alira built a burial mound over the Karnak's body using snow and rocks. She marked it with a flag, not of earth, but a simple white cloth, a sign of peace. She had almost returned to her research when the sky above her base darkened. 6 massive ships descended from the clouds, black, sharp-edged, and humming. With power. They weren't human. Her communicator crackled to life. "Dr. Alira Mays, do not move. We are coming." Her breath caught. She watched as large figures emerged from the ships, tall, armored beings with glowing yellow eyes. Ka or Nath. Not just hunters, warriors, and they were not smiling.